Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another edition of Spiritual Chat Live. Tonight, my guest is my dear friend, Rachel Vaughan. We are doing, once again, our prediction series. This is the third installment of our prediction series. We've done one for January this year and March. And so far, we've had several of our predictions come to pass. So I'm interested to see what we have for tonight. So Rachel's been very, very busy. We haven't been able to talk very much in the last few months. So I'm anxious to catch up, and I'm anxious to bounce off our energy like we always do. So welcome, Rachel.
Oh, so good to see you, darling. And I love to see you've got a lot of predictions there. So I'm excited. This is going to be good fun. I've also got pages, but not as much as you.
Oh, really? Well, I've been doing some some people call it automatic writing, but like I'll sit and I ask for messages and stuff and I start writing. And a lot of times you'll probably see me tonight. I'll be like, what did I write? Because it gets kind of squirrely.
Yeah.
So, um, what do you want to start with? You want to start with some of like what's come to pass with our past
Yeah.
predictions, and then we'll move into what we've been told for upcoming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to start?
Yes.
All right. So, um, one thing that I did predict with it was that the Pope would die.
Yes.
And he did. And that happened. I said it would happen in April, and it did. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure he died a long time ago. But the announcement came up on the 21st of April. And it's 21 minutes into the video, our recording as well, which is interesting. Um, these things aren't accidental. And he was first hospitalized in 2021. So it's lots of that number keeps coming up over and over again. So, there was a lot of, talk about him being very gravely ill. So, it's an easy prediction to make for April, but he's been gravely ill since 2021. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yes.
I'd also said that there were the turbo cancer thing was just going to go crazy, and it did, and it's a lot more awareness of that now, which is good because people can then realize, okay, well, we know what's caused it, so now it's easier to find a cure, and there's so many cures out there for that sort of thing. I did say that there would be food issues. There certainly were in my state in South Australia, but also the food dye issue in America. That's like the beginning of, them tearing down all this packaged, manufactured, high sugar, terrible food that we have in Western countries. Um, I got that inflation would drop in most Western countries. I'm not 100% sure what's happening in other countries, but it certainly dropped here. So the interest rates have started going down for banks. And that a lot of information will be coming out about the jabs. I felt that the prosecutions might start for Epstein Island case, but it was actually more Diddy that was coming out, which is all connected. But poor Virginia Giuffre, one of the main victims of Epstein, was announced dead. I'm still hoping she's been squirreled off somewhere safe, but I can't be sure of that. That was just my immediate reaction, and that might be a bias because obviously I'm a whistleblower too, and I don't want her to be gone because she's an amazing woman. Um, so that was also in April. That was 4 days after the Pope went down. Um, it's interesting. I said, and I don't follow the war rhetoric closely at all, so I may make a fool of myself here, but I got that the Palestine-Israel war would end. What's happened is it's just kind of swapped. It's not that anymore. It's now they're attacking Iran or Iran's attacking them, so that's swapped around. And I also said that the textile industry would be exposed, and a lot of high couture brand names were out in the spotlight, including those in Australia, Industry, David Lawrence and Mark, for exploiting people.
Mhm.
So that did come out during that time. So that's what I managed to remember. How about you?
Well, um, for me, I, you know how stressed I was about doing the live in April or in March because of my predictions for April and May. And April and May proved to be pretty spot on with what I was shown, with it being this massive storm, lots of deaths coming. For me personally, I had two family members pass away, one in April, one in May. And unfortunately, they were from them. And can we prove that? No, but that's my personal feeling is what happened. So the other thing is it's like it's just been this I was shown this massive storm that was all of the swirling energy. And there was a couple of times for me personally where I was feeling really strange and weird, and I felt myself being in the storm. And I'm like, how did I get in the storm? I need to be back in the eye of the storm because I've been cautioning people for so long, you need to be in the eye of the storm. So it's it feels like it's calming down, which I said it would. Um, by the third week of June, which it seems to be doing.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
so, but the energy, it did ramp up in May. Like everything has just been so chaotic, for
Yeah,
April
definitely.
and May. The other
Yeah,
thing is, you and I have both seen big pharma falling, and there are things that there are pieces of that are being dismantled. So, with the CDC, like here in the United States, with different things that they're doing, and I'm like, okay, that's progress, but with food additives being exposed, and people are waking up to all of this stuff. So, um, it is happening. But
yeah, it is.
what I've what's coming is going to be even bigger, and that's what I've been shown for like the fall. So the big
And yeah, same.
yeah, the big thing was just I was amazed that I was like, wow, like April and May were really spot on because it was just it seemed like everyone I talked to was in total chaos for both of those months. And it was just, I don't know, everything between health issues to financial to, mental, emotional, even spiritual, you know? So
Yeah, yeah. And relationships, absolute, frayed. Frayed is a good way to describe it.
that's the other thing is that, I kept warning people, and I've been telling people for a long time, with the 9 year, with it being the year of truth as well as, endings. So what no
Mm.
longer serves you, you'll be pulled away from, especially if you're doing the inner soul work on yourself, you're going to be pulled away from what no longer serves you so that you can get on the path that you're supposed to be on. So I'm hearing left and right from people, marriages ending, people that just got married like a year or not even a year ago, 2 years ago, so it's in a lot of them are flabbergasted. They don't understand what's going on. I do, as in this aspect of it, when I'm looking at it this way. For them, they're still trying to come to terms with it. So I think a lot of people are still confused by the energies and what's happening. So I don't know if you want to help people understand that a little better.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a 9 year, like you said. So, if so the way I understand 9 years is you've got 8 years of dealing with stuff, and then at the end of that, it's like a culmination of all that 8 years of work. And anything that hasn't been sorted out or cleared or whatever just kind of gets thrown at you and slapped in your face over and over again during that 9 year, which is beneficial. It's just intense. So the idea is not to leave it all to the last minute.
Exactly.
Do your work as you keep going. Yeah.
Even had something come up. This is a lesson for, not really a lesson, but just like a tip. Your body keeps score of the
Yes.
emotional. So I had something from 20 years ago present in the physical. And once I cleared it emotionally and spiritually, the physical part went away. And once it was really profound, all the things that I put together, but it was just, I was like, whoa. I mean, even I get amazed by when all this stuff happens, even for me on a personal level, and you put the puzzle pieces together and you're like, wow, that's insane, but it's really
Yeah.
cool at the same time. So yeah, 9 years are powerful with
Yeah,
that.
I think a lot of people think that psychics know everything that's going to happen in their lives. And we actually have to go to other psychics because we're biased,
Yeah,
because we want a certain outcome. You can't pick it for yourself. I mean, you can still get warnings and you can still get incredible protections. So those sorts of things you can pick up on because you don't want them to happen. But when the warnings come in, you know that it's obviously for a reason. But yeah, for the most part, you've got to be, it's difficult. It's very easy to read for other people.
yeah, it is. I know I've had like some times in my life where I've had warnings come where I've seen like big storms coming for me, and I knew it was for me. And I'm always very honest. I'm always very forthright. So I'm like, well, that's for me. So I know it's coming, but I also was shown like I would make it through it, to the other side, but it was going to be very difficult. So that was like right before I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I was shown a big storm coming, and I just,
Wow.
I don't know, like, I will say there have been times in my life though where I've wanted a certain outcome, and even though I was told something different, you want something different than what you're being shown. Can't change it though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said for, positive affirmations and you can shift it to a degree, but yeah, again, 9 year. So if
Exactly.
there's lessons you need to learn, you need to
Yeah.
learn them.
Yeah. Or, like with endings in relationships and stuff, if that person has served their purpose with you and you with them, then it's time for you to separate and move on so that you can continue to grow and evolve and do what you're here to do.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so shall we do some predictions?
yes,
Beautiful. Did you want to start, Dylan?
I can. I can go first or you can go first. I think I always let you go first because
Oh,
you're
okay.
the
All right.
guest.
Okay. So for July, I got this conflict in Israel and Iran and with the US sort of involved. I got that might sort of continue for about 2 to 3 months, unfortunately, which sucks, but it makes sense because again, we're coming up to the last part of the year. I know that there'll be a lot of postulation. The mainstream media is just going to go ballistic about this World War III business. I don't ever see that happening. I just wanted to share that because I just don't want people to get so stuck in that. And the reason they're doing that, as we talked about in the last two lives, they want to project this. They want the collective consciousness to go on board with this and create it through the affirmations, through, oh my God, this is what's happening, and then you create it. So best thing is to do your very best to think it's not going to happen.
Right.
Um, I got, it's interesting, the leader in Israel going into hiding. And I got something very similar to like him being found in a hole in the ground some years later, like Saddam Hussein. That just came up really clearly to me. I also got Kate Middleton. Um, I got that she might be announced gone. We keep seeing these CGI images of her, and I think she's been gone for a while, like well over a year. But I got that might happen in the month of July. I got the vaccine industry being exposed in the veterinary industry, particularly with dogs and cats. And that is the precursor to people starting to understand exactly, like mainstream people starting to understand what's actually happening with these jabs. Um, Avocados. I got avocados being dumped by supermarkets, which was just so out left field. I thought, well, I might as well share it. And I thought it might be from the A peel. They do put the A peel, this horrible thing, onto the avocado skin. Why would they bother? It's got its own skin. Doesn't
Right.
make any sense. Um, I also got, and this was weird too, because I'd forgotten what it meant. And like you, I'll ask my guides for information and then I just start writing. And they said something about Palantir going down, and I couldn't remember what Palantir was, but I think it's some sort of AI instrument. So that was no longer required. It would go offline or go down. Um, I saw a lot of peace talks and negotiations happening in the Middle East, and I saw Germany being part of that. Do not know why. I don't get into those sorts of things. I just thought I'd share it. A lot of push for flu jabs, but that would just, and I feel that would be worldwide, but that would be just again, it exposes more and more of the pharmaceutical industry just being sick and desperate for money. I got a lot of doctors and nurses striking. And just like during the COVID period where they were striking because of what was happening to their patients, the mainstream media will say, oh, they're all looking for money because they haven't had any pay rises during, the last few years. But it won't be about that. It will be about all the deaths because they're on the front line and they're starting to recognise, well, many of them are recognising what's going on. I did see the bird flu narrative come up again, but there was absolute apathy towards that from the main population. Something about tyre fires or issues with getting tyres, which could be shortages. And then I saw that there might be some shipping issues. So some products might not be available on shelves for a short time. And then I saw some sort of new system emerging financially, that there might be not necessarily a crash, but the central banking system might implode. It's probably going to happen reasonably slowly. I don't think it's just going to be a bang. I think it's going to kind of just be replaced by something else. But I don't see digital ID taking off. I just don't see these countries being able to push it to that point. Um, I also got there's a different system for debts. So with this central banking system, and obviously the whole usury system being illegal or just completely and morally wrong, um, saw that people were able to then not pay off whatever they supposedly owe until they decease, until they're dead. So that could be in 20 to 30 years' time. But what I'm seeing with that is in 20 to 30 years, all those debts would be completely forgiven anyway. If that's the option. But again, anytime the government offers something like that, I'd be very careful because there's probably something in the fine print for them to steal your property. And obviously, we've got things like in the UK where they've got people don't get to share their deceased estate with their children anymore. It goes to the government. Disgusting, or they get a huge bit of it. I saw more coming out about child trafficking, US, Canada, Europe, Australia coming out in July, and lots of celebrations. And I got also these billionaire estates, these Sandringham estates and Bilderberg Mansion and those sorts of properties, Epstein properties, being very much in the spotlight, and the farming of us for food, that
Okay.
being part of that as well. So that I saw that's what I got for July. So I'd be really curious to see what you got.
Okay. So what do you mean farming us?
I think it's going to come out that people start to realize that because I mean you've got the Cannibal Club. Throw it
Oh,
out there.
you don't mean like it's coming. You mean that the past is coming out.
In the past,
Done.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
where
I was
it's
like,
where
wait a
people
minute, I
start
didn't
to
hear
realize
that.
that's what's going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. Yeah. So, mine are all out of order because I just wrote them as they came in. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, so the very first thing that I received was there are multiple timelines going on right now. I mean, like hundreds of different timelines going on right now. And I think that's why people are so confused about what's going on, what's happening, where they should put their attention. So, but then I was shown there's five paths happening right now with the timelines. Okay. So I was shown, like a country scene, and there was five paths. And there was two to my right, and they were all black. And so we don't want to go down there because I feel like that's the 3D, 4D, if you want to get, you know, I always say muggle like, but if you want to get like into that where people can understand, that would be the third and fourth dimension over there. Those are the people that are still asleep, will probably remain asleep, those paths.
Mm.
And that's the distractions and stuff that are over there. In the middle was a golden path, and it kind of raised up as I looked down the path, so it was like elevating upwards. Then to my right, there was an all gray path. And I felt
Wow.
like this path was where people they're they're confused. They want to be awakened, but there's fear. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's still hope for the gray path people. And then there was the path next to that that was half gold, half gray. So
Wow.
it's like these people have 1 foot on the gold path, 1 foot on the gray. So they've still got fear. They're still unsure, but they want to believe in like all this stuff that we're talking about, all this stuff that we're saying. So we want to move everybody on this right side to the gold path. Everyone that's over here, and I don't like saying this, but this is what I was shown. Like, I don't think they can be saved,
Okay.
is what I was shown. I don't want to say that there's no hope because I don't, I always say that there's always hope and there's always faith. So, but it's like those are the people that are so deeply rooted in ego and in fear and in the system that I don't know that they'll ever unplug,
Mm.
is what I was shown. And so the old, I was told the old is collapsing. And
Mm.
I was shown the old is collapsing. And I've told you this before that I've had several different dreams and visions where we have separated, so like the fifth dimension is separated now from the third and fourth. And I was shown like the third and fourth dimension was like Gotham City, and then up here was the new earth, and now it was like where it was like this. Now it's like this. So all of that is making a lot of sense to me when I put both of these together. So um so that's that with the timelines and stuff. So what I think people need to understand with, and the energy just feels so chaotic right now. I think,
Mm.
and I've got more down here that will help. Like one of the things I was told is that people have to disconnect to reconnect. So you need to disconnect yourself from the AI grid. And Billiana works with Sarah. You work with her too, Sarah G from Lay Love Down and
Yeah.
Dream Oracle for You. They have a great podcast. I'm promoting them. Um, but Sarah talks all the time about disconnecting yourself from the AI grid. So when you do
Yeah.
your meditation work, you do your protection, you just visualize yourself disconnecting from the AI grid. And I pictured it as Gotham City. And so I raised myself up to the new earth, which was a beautiful, like a park or whatever that was all green and no chemtrails and all that. So, and I've managed to keep myself up there disconnected from that. So I think if everyone could visualize that, it would be less chaotic and it would drive the evil insane because they want us to stay connected because then
Yeah.
they can further control us. So, just check your energy daily. When you protect your energy, check it, make sure that you're disconnected. Um, okay, I just have to mark these off when I say it because otherwise I'll repeat myself. I've got like 12. So I have been noticing lately, and I know Florida passed this law, but it's not in effect yet. So I go on my walks every day, and I've noticed that in the skies, we're having more normal clouds and less chemtrails. And even when I see chemtrails, they're like really short, and chemtrails aren't normally like that. So I'm trying to figure out, is this the different timelines that are happening? Is it because we're raising the vibration and we're moving up away from where the chemtrails are? Is it because of the timeline I'm creating where my timeline has no chemtrails? I'm trying to piece all of this together. So the it's I wonder how everyone else is seeing chemtrails too. So I want everybody to start like looking in the skies to see, because the reason why I say this is because I have friends that live in Florida and they'll say they're spraying us to death. But when I go outside and they're only 2 hours away from me and I'm seeing no chemtrails, I'm thinking, well, what timeline are you on?
Yeah.
This is why I stress the importance of creating your timeline and creating your reality. So, and I've
Yeah.
been working so hard for a long time now, but specifically the last 6 months on creating the new earth and the reality where we don't have chemtrails and we don't have to worry about our food and water, and so there's that. um the other thing is that I've noticed on my walks that nature is really speaking to us, so receiving signs very quickly when I ask for things. The trees are very much alive and communicating. I've had some psychedelic experiences with the trees lately. So when you're out on your walks, ground and communicate with nature. That was one of the very, very strong messages, was to get out in nature to connect because of the sacred geometry that's out in nature.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things, because, getting out there in your bare feet, touching the trees, communicating with not just the plants and the trees, but the animals and insects and all of that as well. It's very, very important because I feel like they're more awake right now than a lot of the humans are.
Yes, they are.
And you work with
They
the
are.
ley lines. And so, the ley lines are all there's so many light workers that are working on the ley lines right now as well. So everything is raising up, in vibration. So the humans need to get on track and get their vibration and raise up as well.
Yeah.
So that was the next thing that I received, was raise your vibration and frequency. And I received this in in two parts. I received it when I was writing my stuff down, but I also received it when I was doing a live with Billiana and Sarah on their Dream Oracle podcast. Was that the soul frequency is the key to fully breaking free from the system, from being enslaved. So, platinum is the frequency that breaks you fully free from the slave system. So each time,
Mm.
and you know all this with the frequencies, right? I don't care what frequency I am. Like Max Lowen and I, we've talked about this. We don't care what frequency we are. But I was telling her, and I told Billiana and Sarah, the platinum is key. The key. And Billiana had like a dream about keys, and so did Sarah. And I have it here. I brought it specifically. I found a key on the beach a few years ago. That's like an old key. And so the platinum is the key. Does that make sense to you at all, Rachel?
Yes, it does. So, and it's funny because you call it platinum and I call it diamond, so we've got different names. And originally it was shown to me as platinum, but then it was shown to me as diamond, and yeah,
Okay.
I stuck with the diamond, even though I'm not a fan of diamonds, obviously, because you get blood diamonds and things. But diamond is a frequency where the more and more people who reach that frequency, exactly the key thing. I mean, I've often spoken about your soul frequency is your key into a certain dimension at death. You can't get into a dark dimension if you don't have a frequency that's going to match that dimension. You can only go to an angelic dimension if you have an angelic frequency or a high level frequency. So that diamond frequency is literally the key. The more and more souls on this planet, animal, human, whatever, that get to that frequency or plant, that the more impossible it is for anything dark to hold and control and keep these grids in place, like with the enforced ley lines in cities. So it's frequency that saves us. Basically,
Yeah.
it's shifting
Okay.
into that higher state.
Why do I call it platinum then if it's really diamond? Why do I say that?
They have a similar. When you look at it, it's this extra shiny white light.
Yeah.
Platinum diamond, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The diamond, when I look at the diamond, I can see the diamond. Like the diamond to me always looks like I can see flashes of the blue and the gold, like how a diamond will do that. And
Yeah.
the platinum just looks more bright. But I've also been seeing um angel rays in people's auras now. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like I will see like Billiana when I did their live, I was seeing like pink in up above, like it was up here. And then with Sarah, I saw green and another color. So, and I know those are different, archangels. And so,
Wow.
and uh, Layla Angel, she's in here, I think. She does astrology and she sent me a chart of all the angels, archangels with the different rays and the colors. So that helped me figure out that I'm seeing angels, but it's in the outer aura. It's
Beautiful.
yeah, so it's out here. So I was very confused at first because I was like, why is my aura changing color? But it's not. It's angels in the outer aura. And I think it's whichever one you're working on or, whatever you're working with that day or at that time, like your soul work. So
Yeah.
so the message is now is the time to do your inner soul work and release all that no longer serves you so you can raise your soul frequency and free yourself. Plus,
Yeah.
you'll help raise the frequency of the earth and those around
Keep
you.
away from the fear porn.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I think Max Lowen is the one that says when you do that soul work, when you raise your frequency and vibration, it helps raise the frequency and vibrations. I forget for how many she says around you. It's so many
Oh,
people
wow.
around you,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Oh, well, no doubt. She's
Yeah,
she's incredibly intelligent.
yeah. So I also received that this summer will be calmer than April and May. I received ride the wave, stay on your surfboard, stay in the eye of the storm, avoid all distractions. So, limit your time on social media, get out and enjoy nature, enjoy your family, disconnect to reconnect. So, and stay on your surfboard means like don't get distracted. Like, stay. It's gonna. Are we going to have like nothing happen this summer? No, obviously we are, but it's going to not be so as chaotic as April and May was. That's going to return. That's coming back in the fall. So that out of the way. Okay. Also received for people that they need to protect their energy daily. Practicing energetic hygiene. I I received that we're near the end, or we're at the end of the spiritual war, and it's getting ugly. So
Yeah.
um it's so important to stay grounded in nature, stay hydrated, stay balanced. Check your spiritual debt. I don't know really what that means. There was something that I received over here about that was um spiritual debt and being morally bankrupt is blocking many of abundance of all kinds: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Reconnect with what matters to you. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. If it feels right, do it. Get your heart and mind in alignment.
Mm.
So, the spiritual debt stuff, it says again, check your spiritual debt. This is more important in the coming months than physical money. So, I think that a lot of people's spiritual debt is going to be coming due in the coming months,
Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
July, like,
Which makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
not just anyone watching here, but the world,
Yeah.
the world stage. Um, I received things are going to ramp up again the end of September going into October, and it's going to be very similar to April and May energetically. The more grounded and balanced you are, the better you'll do. So again, was told to do your inner soul work. I was told no World War III. What's happening in the Middle East is to dissolve what's left of the cabal. So it's making everyone, like you said, it's making everyone think there's going to be a world war, so you can manifest that, but it's not what that is. It's actually, when I've been telling people for many years now that simpler times are coming, that's
Mm.
what's going to be being put into place, but not to go backwards in how things were. Like, I was actually told that things like Sharia law will be removed. Um, like big, massive improvements. So all of this that's happening over there is to dissolve the old. The old guard
Mm.
is being removed, is what I was told. A lot of times things are told to me cryptically, and I have to kind of figure it out. Um, Once again, I was told big pharma is falling. I was actually shown a couple of companies that will fall. I had a friend that was interviewing with a company, and I said, "Don't take that job." So don't go there. So, and this is all I received, so I don't know what it means. Lawsuits with doctors and nurses.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if the doctors and nurses are going to file lawsuits, or if there's going to be lawsuits filed against doctors and nurses. And it
Well,
will,
they're saying that they're allowing people to do that in certain countries now to file lawsuits against their doctors for recommending without giving them informed consent.
okay,
So this is going to explode because the pharmaceutical companies want to cover their own asses. And they'll say, well, the doctors should have done their work.
right, right,
But they incentivized what they did.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I was told the aftermath is coming in 2026. The repair, the cleanup. The more of us that are spiritually prepared to help those that need it, the better.
Mm.
So the aftermath, like what I was shown in the vision, was that this year is clearing out, exposing the truth, like bringing all of it. And in the fall, what's going to come in the fall is going to be even greater than what we have seen so far. So
Yeah.
it's really going to get bigger in the fall. And it will wrap around into 2026. Just because I said the aftermath is coming in 2026 doesn't mean that it'll be done. It's going
Mm.
to continue, and the cleanup will continue for many years. But the aftermath is coming. So, you know, um, financial systems of old are dissolving. There are no crashes coming. The crash will be to the ones who set the system up.
Yeah,
Financial freedom is coming. Um, I received by September, could be as early as July, August, and I was shown a lot of families celebrating. So
brilliant.
yeah,
Very similar. Yeah, I got a lot of celebrations in July as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we received the same stuff on that. I don't see like a big, depression or, you know, like a stock market. I don't see that. What I see is it's all dissolving, but there's
Yeah.
like I've always seen was I when I saw like the fiat dollar falling, there's a trapeze net there. And when it falls,
Mm,
it bounces back up. So whatever here, and I feel like it's old stuff. It's like gold, silver, and I also feel there's some currencies that are gonna revalue that will quite literally save the world.
beautiful.
Um, okay, so I talked about checking your spiritual debt. And then this was the last thing I received. Um, the evil are not able to manipulate the weather like they used to. Do not give them your power. Any volcanoes, earthquakes, etc., will be natural and are part of the earth cleansing and raising in frequency with all of us. I personally don't see like any major hurricanes for Florida this year. I usually receive that stuff, at the end of each year. Um, I've done some protecting for the coastlines of the United States and like Mexico and all that. And I've even placed domes over the water to contain any disturbances that might form so they don't hit land. There may be some mild storms that happen, but I don't see anything catastrophic. I wasn't shown anything catastrophic happening. Anything that had like last year, I did not see any catastrophic storms. Those were manipulated. But something has happened, and it's either a timeline change, shift, whatever, or everyone creating, a different timeline reality where they're not able, with us having a higher vibration frequency, they're not able to control and manipulate the weather like they used to. So create the timeline you wish to be on. Where'd you go? Oh, you turned your mic off.
Well,
There you are.
I've lost the screen completely. Hang on. Wait, wait. Oh, whoa, what is it doing? Oh, bear with me. That is so strange. There we go. My God. Okay, sorry. That was so weird. So I love what you're saying there because a lot of that was what I was getting for August and September. So I've given my predictions for what I was getting for July. Is it okay if I just start going into those? Because it'll confirm a lot of what you've just said, which is just brilliant.
I didn't receive like this time they didn't tell me months. Like, and I say they, that's my spiritual team. I was just literally dumped on all this and I had to write as fast as I was receiving
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love your process. So August, well, the first thing I got was this four-leaf clover and luck of the Irish for August. So
Ah,
I don't really know what that means. It could just mean, it's a very positive outlook, like we might be getting a shift in energy, or that might have something to do with Ireland coming up really clearly, but something along those lines. Um, I got that there'd be a lot more freedom in airports. And it's interesting because we've even had that being spoken about in the US, that they're not going to do as much of their full-on, scanning and irradiating people when they go through. I had got that and shared that in our first live series, and I said at the time, it doesn't make any sense. But they're just not going to be going for this obsessed, terrorism thing that they've been doing for so long. And obviously 9/11 was to bring all of that in so
yeah,
that they could do those things. Um, I got a new forms of farming where animals were cared for in a different way, like in a more loving, kind way. I know we have to eat. It's a predatory planet, and
right.
vegetarianism doesn't work for everybody. But at least this way, these animals have a decent life. They're not battery farmed. So I got that, which is really nice. So more of that's going to be start coming out. And I also got that the weather begins to balance and HARP is down. Somehow it's down
Yeah.
in August, which is wonderful because you were saying something very similar, which is fantastic. I got a calming of the seas, even though I got also got the tsunami symbol. But with me, it wasn't the water destroying. It was like a tsunami of information, of truth, of people waking up. But I also got, because I'd got that shipping might be affected in July, I got that the seas open up again in August. So I'm not 100% what that sure what it might be something to do with this war rhetoric. Shipping might not be as free, but it frees up in August. Um, I got the election interference narrative starts up big time in the US again in August, like full on. And that has an effect in other countries. We use domain in Australia. It's just infuriating. Domain. I mean, seriously. Or is it Dominion? No, it's Dominion. It's even worse. Not just domain, it's Dominion. It's like, if ever there was anything more obvious, it's the name of that friggin' election system. Um, I did get some displaced people walking with tanks around them, but the tanks were protecting them and the tanks were green. So I'm not into or understanding all of the different kinds of camouflage, but this was not, they were not terrified. They were walking calmly. So I don't really know what that means, except to say it's probably a symbol for more of this migration out of the US.
Yeah.
So um, I did get that there was an attempt to create a new kind of UN. And it's almost like a joke because the people that were trying to create it were like well, not puppets. It was like a puppet show because they're so obviously all evil. It was like a movie that I was being shown, but it disbands very quickly. So it's almost just like optics to make people recognize, oh my God, we don't want that again.
Right.
Again, I got that the usury system's pretty much down at that point and something else has taken over. I got Albert Pike again. He was a very high level Freemason who was talking about the three wars, and we've had two, and he wants this third world war. And it was supposed to be Zionists versus Islamists, but that it's so exposed at that point that everybody knows what the plan was, and so that they're not sucked into it. And I saw that the 13 Illuminati family lines were very much exposed in the spotlight as part of that. In September, so that was August, I did get that there might be a social media blackout. I don't know if it's just Australia. I'm in Australia, obviously, but that I got it only lasted for 2 days.
Okay.
And that whatever reason there was behind it, it was incredibly short-lived. Um, and I don't see it being it's because they put in a new control system. I saw it as something different. It was something different. So if that happens, people don't panic. It's 2 brief days. Go outside. I know I will be. Um, a lot more health worker demonstrations in September, and the COVID narrative just unraveling rapidly. Um, and a lot of people demonstrating because they've been injured by these things. So yeah. And I see that, those demonstrations, they won't be able to hide it because the demonstrations will be big and the signs will be so obvious, and the mainstream media won't be able to hide what's written on the signs. So it'll just get out and get out and get out. For some reason, I had to look him up. I got the name Bukele, Bukele, and I had to look it up, and it's the El Salvadorian president.
Yeah.
Something big happens with that guy. I don't like to predict horrible things about people, but something big happens with that guy in September. Um, I feel like the conflict, Israel-Iran conflict, was over by about mid-September, roughly around the 16th. Um, that the streets in the US would be cleaned up at that point. So I'm assuming again that's about these riots and things that have been going on that I don't think they're going to last that long, but there's a cleaning up. So it could also be that, with the alien migrants leaving, that there might be more housing for people, so that there might not be so many people on the streets, living in tents and things because there is housing available. I got Soros
Uh,
down,
mm,
gone. Now he's probably been gone for a while, but the announcement comes out.
yeah.
I also got a certain monarch in the UK down.
Huh?
September. Um, Tsunami again, but it's not water. It's this shift. It's this energy shift. And again, I got a lot of celebrities coming out, high level celebrities talking about how they've been MK Ultra'd, SRA'd, and that being a big part of September. That's just everywhere. So that's yeah, so that's the end of my predictions for these three
Well,
months.
and remember what I've said since January, since we started doing this, that in September it had something to do with the Diddy trial, where I was seeing all of these bricks, like they were all brown bricks, right? And then like at the towards the end of September going into October, the bricks were coming down, but I felt like it was like what you're saying, more and more celebrities are speaking out. They're talking about what has happened to them, what really has been going on. People are waking up to how brainwashed they've been with movies and TV shows and just that whole thing, that it's all been a big distraction to keep us asleep. And the other
Mm,
thing is this the tsunami thing. Remember I was saying it's a tsunami of truth that's coming.
yeah,
Like I've been saying that the whole time. So like it's this tsunami has been building, 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 building. The tsunami's coming. Then September, when I said like the end of September going into October is when it's like really gonna hit, like from
yes.
all sides. Everyone's gonna be hit from all sides, and if you're not like awake, it's gonna be quite shocking. And I also think like a lot of this stuff has to do with the timelines, right? So like there's so many different timelines happening. So if someone, I think if someone thinks World War III is gonna happen, it's gonna happen in that timeline, on the timeline they're on.
Yeah.
We don't see World War III happening because the timeline we're on, it's not going to. So that's why it's so important to stay on the timeline that we're seeing,
Yeah.
and that you're creating. So yeah, yeah,
I liked your analogy because what you were saying about those five different paths made so much sense. You said one path that these people in the third, fourth dimension can't get out of it. If you looked at that as in percentage wise, 20%, I always got 20% will never wake up. The cognitive dissonance, the programming, just they'll never wake up. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. Like you said, they might just get stuck in that dimension. They might go into that AI grid nightmare because
right.
they can't seem to get out of it. But the other percentages of what you're describing, I think there's about 20% of people, possibly around 30%, who are awake and aware of what's going on now and are moving into that much more positive timeline because they know that's the point of this whole awakening process. Um, so percentage wise, I thought five lots of 20% kind of makes sense. That's how I saw it. Um, we're well past. So I think there was a description at one point that if you've got 1 in 10 people that are awake to, government corruption, that's enough. That's enough to tip the scales, just that 10%. We're at about 20 to 30 now.
Yeah.
So it's well and truly unraveling, and we're very much on that path. We just need to keep focusing and do your soul work, like you said, your soul debt, clear things out, clean up. What are you dragging around that you haven't dealt with? Deal with it as best you can in as timely a fashion as you can so that you can move forward. And as kindly as you can. Mm,
I agree.
mm.
Ooh, we gave a lot.
We did.
Well, I can see comments and stuff in the chat. Let's see what these are, and then we can take questions from
Cool.
everyone. Let me see. Um, let's see. Max says a psychic said she couldn't find her purse, but she could help you find yours. A psychic once said to him.
Yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah.
find
It's
stuff though. If I can't find something, I'll say, "Help me find this, please." And then I'm shown in my head where it is, and then I always say thank you because I can find it.
I usually just let my body get up and go and find it. I don't even think about it. My body will take me to where the item is.
We
Yeah,
all of our gifts work differently.
yeah.
That's what I find so fascinating. Um, Kim says Palantir is a horrific company, 4 branches. That's the AI company that's planned to be used to implement technocracy.
Yep, yep, yep. So, because when I looked it up, I was like, oh, well, great. Oh, really great. I want that down.
Yeah,
Um, so fantastic. But it was weird for me because I wasn't sure what it was. I had to look it up, but I'd been given the correct spelling. Like I'd been given this Bukele guy the
yeah,
correct spelling of his name so that I could look it up. And
right,
that's the beauty of doing the automatic writing or the questioning or ask, question and answer with your guides is because things will come up and you don't know what they are. Like bootstrapping. I didn't know what that I didn't know what that meant. So yeah, that's when you know you're not just popping something in your own head because you want it. You're not, it's not a biased thing.
exactly. Um, I also with the whole, I think people think the AI stuff like the chat GP, but I don't even know what it is because I don't use it. I refuse to use it. It can read your mind. So,
Mm.
especially with us, like with our abilities and stuff, I don't want that. I had years ago, I had someone tell me, be careful using that with your abilities and everything. And I'm like, I don't use it. Or like, oh, that's good. And I'm thinking, well, why are you using it? Like it's, I think people are using it too much. They're asking silly questions and they don't realize the connections that they're putting into that energetically. So just be aware.
Must be some sort of filter that you can put on a search engine so that it can't come in or that it completely,
Yeah.
devoid of the AI interface because it's wrong most of the time.
Yeah, it is. I don't use Google or any of that. I use Yandex. I started using Yandex.
Well,
Dot
that's a different one. Okay, cool.
uh who told me to use Yandex? I think oh, I know. Matt from Cultivate Elevate said he
Oh,
used
of
Yandex.
course. Brilliant.
He was in it's when he did. He was in that with the chat that Max.
Yep, with Max. Brilliant.
Okay. Max says its old technology capabilities with new name and more advanced technology. Look into Project Echelon. The Five Eyes have had a total spying network since the 90s.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, they absolutely have.
Eloise says she's in Victoria and there's lots of solar farms going up. She thinks the weather control here has been to keep the skies clear. We had the direct, dressed May in nearly, I don't know
Oh,
what the,
driest.
oh,
Dry?
driest. Okay, driest May in nearly 100 years.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Mo asked if we've had any downloads around silver. I know uh, silver and gold, if you have it, you should keep it. If you don't, you should get some. I don't give financial advice or any of that. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know if I should say it or not. There's one currency. Well, there's several currencies. There's several currencies in the world. If you should look into it, they're going to revalue, and when they do, it's going to be very very good. And do you
I
know what?
just got silver will skyrocket. And I do not give financial advice either. That I just got the word skyrocket for silver. I can't give you a timing on that.
Yeah, I don't. And again, I don't know when any of that will happen. And like Rachel, I don't give financial advice, but
Mm.
I've been being shown this for a while, like a
Mm.
few years. So you can't really, it's all coming into play in its divine timing. So, you know,
Yeah.
who has questions? Anyone have questions? Let me see if anybody has their hands up. I have to scroll through. We have so many lovely people in here today.
We've been blessed.
Yes. Anyone have questions? Everyone's always so quiet at first. It just takes one person to ask a question and then everybody gets in there.
Funny. It's funny. Well, I guess we're coming up to the hour, so
If no one has any questions, we'll end the live. But I can't believe no one has a question. I always tell everyone, have your questions ready.
it's a shyness thing. It's fair.
Yes. Well,
Hi.
oh, Kristen.
Kristen.
I couldn't unmute for a minute, but yeah, hello. I've been listening to a dude called Chief Ironbush. He's an American, a Native American, and he decodes, breaks down the English language, the Bible, what's happening. He draws on ancestral knowledge. And one of the things and I assume he's legit. I mean, of course, I don't know for sure, but I assume he is. And one of the things he was talking about with the weather manipulation was because he talks about the dome opening. He doesn't know when it's going to happen, but there's this, I think it's every 12,000 odd year cycle. The dome opens for about half an hour or so. And apparently the people like Musk and all of that want to get out of here. It's the only way out. So the chemtrail spraying is to create a platform, like, I don't know what that looks like, an energetic or a bot platform that you can't see, I don't know, that they can sort of spring off from when the dome opens and try and get out. But he also said that they'll be pretty much liquefied. They don't realize that they can't, so he makes the distinction between infinite souls, which they are, and eternal souls, which we are. And so they're trapped in this loop here that they can't get out of for infinity, sort of thing. And so, that thing that Hillary Clinton said about putting 18 million more cracks in the glass ceiling, referring to the dome, because they're trying to get out. And so I just thought that was an interesting take on the whole chemtrail thing and what's going on with that.
That's fascinating. Is that so they know where the opening is? Because
yes,
will it create?
Apparently it'll be right above the North Pole. He says that we're in a sort of a bowl or a crater, that the plane that we're in, it's not completely flat, it's more crater-like or bowl-like, and that we're in a bowl within a bowl within a bowl. And that's why the interest in Greenland, because that's right near the North Pole.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, stuff like that. So apparently when the sun, or what, I can't remember all the details now, but is directly, there's a point where it comes directly above, and yeah, things open. But it's only,
I don't know why, but this speaks to me. Does it speak to you, Rachel?
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I try not to get into sphere, bowl, flat. It's a reality.
I find all that
yeah,
stuff
It can
that's,
be any
that's
shape. Yeah.
I find it, I love all that stuff because I feel like the earth is like a CD, but there's layers. I saw this video of this kid who was describing the earth, and how it was like in layers, and the way he was describing it. And the kid, he was highly intelligent. He's smarter than me, but I understood what he was talking about. And I'm like, this speaks to me. So when I say it speaks to me, it's like I'm understanding it, like what this man is saying. Send me some, it's like, does he have a YouTube channel or something? I'd like to watch his
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he's putting out heaps of information.
I feel like I could go listening to this stuff.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. It's got fascinating information about the moon and how it's reflecting the realm that we're in. And it's like a map. What we see on the moon is a reflection of down here in sort of the greater Earth that's, we're in one small section of it. And yeah, it's super interesting. And he's
I have
very,
seen those markings where you can see the reflection on the moon. It's really freaky. Really
yeah,
freaky.
isn't it? Yeah.
What you said about them being liquefied, I got that there also is no escape.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they don't realize that. They're going to try anyway.
I don't even know if those are the real ones anyway. When I try to read their energy, they don't feel like they're there. I don't know if that
You
makes
mean like
sense.
us?
And that could be because of the type of energy they are, if they're reptilian or draconian or wherever they're, whatever they are. Like, I don't know, because I don't know enough about that to say anything, but I can't feel. And I have felt people's energy before, whether they've been dark or, whatever, but that type of energy, it just feels like it's absent, like it's not there.
Yeah.
It's hollow.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe
I
they've
get
already
that
been
with
sent
quite a
back.
few politicians. Just
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Weird.
Interesting, Kristen. Thank you.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Kristen. Can you
You're
send me the
welcome.
link as well?
Yes, yeah, happy to. Well,
Thank
I
you.
just posted in your chat, Rachel.
Oh, if you could email me, I find it really hard to even get into my chat nowadays. I'm just so busy.
Yeah. Okay. I'll email it to you. Sure.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Jim has his hand up. Let's see what Jim
Oh,
has.
Jim. Yay.
I'm put you in the spotlight, Jim.
Hello.
Oh, unmute yourself.
Here for some reason. Yeah.
You got to unmute yourself, Jim.
Now he's muted.
Now he's muted. Asked to unmute.
Can you speak? Oh no, we can't hear you.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh,
There.
no fair.
Oh, no. I don't know what's the
Jim,
matter.
No, good.
great.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Now we can hear you.
I'm in there. Okay. I was plugged into the car stereo, so it might not have picked up the microphone. I've had some weird stuff, that's life these days happen. I let Rachel know recently that I've been working with extreme schizophrenics and having the most extraordinary conversations. And this follows on from having listened to the telepathy tapes with the non-verbal autists. I don't know if anyone else has caught up with that yet, but
Oh, yeah.
there seems to be some very extraordinary people that walking amongst us that see, hear, and feel things that we would normally dismiss as being barking mad, obviously, and they get, cruelly medicated accordingly. But yeah, some of the things that I get from these people have been, off the charts, fascinating. Do you believe that people with these extreme mental health issues are maybe people that have had some rough ascension, or what's made it so painful for them, do you think?
Multidimensional access can be overwhelming. If you're seeing
Yeah,
things, hearing things that other people can't see or hear, of course, you're going to think you're crazy. So,
yeah.
I mean, Jerry Marzinski's work is a brilliant sort of platform, and I'm sure you'd be aware of his work, where he was working in a penitentiary, and these people were coming to him that had these diagnoses. And then eventually, one of them actually said to him, "You have no right to interfere with our way of being, our way of living." And it was the entity that was attached to his patient. And he had
Mm.
there was telekinetic things, something hit his wastepaper basket, so he knew that there was something else going on. He's got protocols to help these people, which I can send you if you like. It might help with some of what you're dealing with. But I think you do not get a schizophrenic that's not psychic. They're all psychic.
No.
So
Oh,
these
absolutely.
entities know it, and then they attach. Because what's the point of harassing somebody if they can't see or hear you? If you're a bully, they will pick on you if you can see or hear them. And they
Mm.
go for it. And they never, ever, ever tell the victim anything positive. They'll tell them truth that's useful, but then they'll denigrate them and try and get them to harm themselves or others. So
Yeah.
it's they're sucking off the energy, but they're also using them as a vehicle and also being entertained by their suffering. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. There definitely appears to be attachments and entities involved because, yeah, apart from the amazing conversations, some of their behaviours are obviously compromised and definitely appear to be interfered with. So, yeah, if you could
Yeah.
send me something, that's great because I'm wrestling through that a bit at the moment. I'm fascinated, but at the same time perplexed. So,
Yeah, well, you're one of the few people that I would know would be strong enough and capable to protect yourself well enough to do that work. So thank you, Jim. They're so incredibly happy to have you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Great information. Great question.
I've always thought that schizophrenics were very psychic and had entity, like they were seeing for real. It was for real what was happening, but no one believed them. They just thought they were crazy. So, and they couldn't shut it off. They didn't know how to shut it off or protect their energy. So, yeah.
Yeah, poor darlings.
Any other questions? Anybody else have any questions? I'm just going to scroll through here and make sure nobody has their hand up. If not, I'm going to end the live. Rachel, you have your psychic development course, and when's the next class?
Next one starts in August, so I think it's around the 2nd of August. The June one's going at the moment. It's really lovely. We've got the 3rd session coming up on Friday. But yeah, if people are interested in doing the August course, just go to my website, www.sixthscience, so 6thscience.com, and you can see where to enroll.
Okay. Anything
And
else?
you've also got courses going, haven't you?
I do. I'm finally launching mine. It's July 4th is my first
nice.
class. Yeah. So I'm super excited about starting it. So it's not up on my website yet, but you can go to my website and message me and at theoracleblonde.com and say if you're interested in the course, and I'll send you course information and payment details.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Rachel. I always enjoy it, and I look forward to the next time we do this, because we do them on the equinoxes and the solstices. So September will be the next one.
Yeah.
Quite
Yeah.
interesting. So
Thank you, everybody, for being here. So many beautiful faces. Thank you, Billy, as always, gorgeous woman.
remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will upload this to my channel and to Rachel's channel, and you do it to Rumble too, right?
Yeah, Rumble and BitChute as well. Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.